Hi guys, I'm Shivali. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it and I hope you like my videos. And if you've already watched my other videos and are coming back, I really love you guys and thanks for coming back. Please do hit the subscribe button as well because this really keeps me going and keeps me motivated. Also, let's dive right into the video because this is going to be a long video and I don't want to waste your time. And so this video is about all the questions about Columbia, master's program at Columbia, housing and tuition and TA positions and internships and anything you can basically think of. So I got a lot of questions from my previous video, so around 30-40 questions, and I clubbed them into these small groups. And I have added timestamps in the video so that you can skip to the question that you want to really know about. But obviously, if you watch the whole video, it will be nice, and let's get right into it. So the first set of questions that I got were about housing. So housing near Columbia University that is convenient, safe, affordable, and is in proximity of various restaurants. So for that, if you know how New York City is, then it's like a grid. So we have streets and then we have avenues, so it's very easy to pinpoint any location in the city because you can just go okay, I am on 103rd Street and Broadway. So Broadway is the name of the avenue, and then you get that intersection. So Columbia University is basically from 104th Street to 122nd Street. I'm talking about the main Morningside campus, and it's between Broadway and Amsterdam Avenue. So when you're looking for houses, I would suggest that look for houses that are between 102nd and 122nd Street. So 102 to 122nd Street, and you can choose between the ideal 4 avenues would be the 2 avenues on the right side and the 2 avenues on the left side. So that is Riverside, Broadway, Amsterdam, and Morningside. So any house that you're getting between these streets and these avenues is good. So one thing that my seniors suggested when I was joining Columbia was not to cross the park. So you will be seeing apartments that are actually 106th Street, but the avenue is a little farther away from the university. So you actually have to cross a park to get to that avenue. And the park is very dimly lit at night. I was just warned that it might not be very safe, especially if you're planning to go back home at 2 or 3 a.m. at night from the library, and if you will be alone. So since the course load in masters is a lot, so I would suggest stay close to the campus. So that was all about the location of the apartment. Now coming to the apartment itself. So in an apartment, make sure that your apartment building has an elevator, because you'll have to walk a lot for grocery stores, and when you're carrying those heavy bags of groceries, you don't want to take the stairs to your 5th floor apartment. The second thing that you want to look for is laundry, either in unit or in the building. Mostly the apartments around Columbia don't have a washer and dryer in the apartment itself. So either people go out for laundry into some laundromats or something, or they have a laundry room in the building, which is common for all the apartment units in that building. So in the apartment that I was living, I didn't have any washer dryer in my building, in my apartment, but at least I had it in my building. So all I had to do was carry my clothes, and I had an elevator as well. So I had to go down to the basement to do my laundry and then come back. So that's really convenient. I'm saying this because it gets really cold, especially during winter. So you don't want to like leave your house to do laundry and then wait there, waste your time and then come back. So make sure you have this. And another point that I want to share is that the way you rent apartments in New York is that they require, for renting an apartment, you require a guarantor. I mean, it's not like necessary that you should have a guarantor, but if you have a guarantor, then that means that you can pay your rent every month. If you don't have a guarantor and if you want to rent an apartment, so then you have to pay the whole 12 years, 12 years, sorry, you have to pay the whole 12-month rent in advance. So that can get a lot, like for a one-time payment. So if you have any relative living in the city, so start convincing them to be your guarantor and sign the lease with you. And yeah, so that's it for the living situation. I think I covered most of it. Let's move on to the next question. Okay guys, so I was literally editing the video and then I realized I have to share these two very important points with you guys. So the tips that I just mentioned are for renting an apartment for 1 year. So that will cover your first sem and your second sem. For the third sem, you should look at Columbia housing, because when you sign a lease, that will usually be for like a year. I have hardly seen 6-month leases in New York City. So for the third semester, do apply for Columbia housing. It's like a lottery-based, chance-based system where you have to like keep refreshing the page, and if you see an open apartment, you have to like quickly add in like your details and press enter, and if you're lucky enough, you'll get it. That's super convenient because that way you won't sign a year's lease again and then worry about like subletting the apartment for the last 6 months. So keep that in mind. And if you're looking at iHouse, just look at their room sizes and room type, and some of them have like the shared bathroom thing. So if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, then you can just like go for the apartment thing. And one plus point about iHouse though is the community that you'd be living with, so and the events that they host, so they are really nice. But if you still want to join the iHouse events, you can be friends with people who are staying in iHouse and still attend the event. So yeah, back to the video now. The next set of questions were literally comparisons, whether I should choose Columbia over Michigan, Columbia over like UT Austin, Columbia over some other university. So I am not an expert in all of the universities, so I really don't know the pros and cons that like one university may have over another. But just to give you a general idea, if I were to compare the universities, I would compare like Columbia to any university, say in California. Because if you're studying in California, you have the proximity to a lot of tech companies, and this is especially for those of you who are going to be pursuing computer science courses at Columbia. So if you are in a university in California, it's easy for you to give more interviews, to apply at like more startups, and just like attend a lot of these tech events that happen in the Silicon Valley. So I think that would be a fair comparison. Apart from it, I don't think universities in US matter a lot. You will still have to apply using the same process that other people are applying from other universities, and the only advantage that you might have, that like you might get a call for interview, or your resume might get shortlisted first, so that's good. But when you have a call, then it doesn't matter which university you're from, then you have to just clear the interview and get the internship or get your job. So this question, is it easier to find opportunities, jobs in top companies being a Columbia grad, or is it something that doesn't matter much? It doesn't matter at all, in my opinion. So the next question is, how shall I choose between the different concentrations offered for the program? I'm interested in NLP, ML and software systems and quite confused. How does the concentration make a difference in the roles that I would be able to apply for after graduation? So this is a nice question. So when I was in Colombia, I think 70% of the batch chose ML as their track. I was in NLP track. Basically, the degree that you would be getting at the end of like 1.5 years is a computer science degree, master's in computer science. So your degree won't even have your specialization or your track written on the degree. So I think these specializations are more for you to choose your courses. If you're choosing ML, you can definitely land an NLP role. If you're choosing NLP, it's not like you'll have to do all the courses related to NLP. So how it works with tracks usually is that out of 10 courses, there will be like 6 courses specific to your track. So 6 courses you'll have to choose from, like the NLP related courses, and the rest 4 courses you can still choose. You can still do like deep learning, you can still do like pursue a computer vision course and things like that. So it's not like hard and fast that if you've chosen NLP, you're stuck with NLP. Also, you can change your track after 1 semester. So you have the flexibility of starting with one track and then changing it later. But obviously, like after like your 2nd semester, that's you can't change your track. For the roles, I think it doesn't make any difference, but you can talk about it in your interviews. Like for example, if you're passionate about NLP, if you're applying for an internship and you have your interview, you can just say that, like I'm so passionate, I'm like in the NLP track in my uni and I'm taking all relevant like NLP courses. So I think in the interview that will help, but obviously it won't stop you from applying to other roles. So these set of questions are about the flexibility in the curriculum. Okay, so I'll just read one question so that it's more clear. In my core curriculum, there are many deep learning and machine learning courses, but how feasible is it to take CS department courses? So to take any course, you have to get on a wait list. So for example, if you have to choose 4 courses in a semester, you will put 5 courses in your bucket list and add them to your wait list, and depending upon your number in the wait list, you will be added to the course. And some people then like drop courses and then like other people get added. So that's the general process. So since there are a lot of people applying for the same course, even in the same department, it's not very easy to like say get a CS department course if you're not in CS. But the way to do it is contact the professor well in advance. You go and meet him, you talk to them and say that you're in this department but you're really interested in his course, and is there any way I can like get a seat in your class. And then he probably like take your university ID or like things like that. And after like the course assignment is done, maybe like he puts you in the course. It's possible. A lot of people have done it, but then they have to talk to the professor separately. So you do that. The next question is about extending a master's program into a PhD program. I would like to extend my master's into a PhD and was wondering whether Columbia usually allows that, and if so, how difficult this transfer is. From the website, I gather they ask current students to go through the same process as any outsider applying to the PhD program. So that's true. You can't really extend your master's. Speaking of which, you can't even convert your master's into a thesis master by extending it by 1 semester. So Columbia is like kind of strict in having us complete the program in 1.5 years. So that's 3 semesters. But in my batch, I have seen one case in which the student was super passionate about research, and he was working with a professor since like his entire time at Columbia. and had published a lot of papers. And in that case, like 2-3 professors got together and like, you know, made it possible for him to stay for another semester at Columbia and pursue research and change his master's to a thesis master's. So that's rare, but it's not impossible. So tired. This is such a long video. I'm just so hungry right now. Okay, so next question quickly. Alright, we can do this. So the next set of questions are about the course workload at Columbia. Okay. In the first semester, how did you manage 4 subjects? Columbia has 4 courses per semester. People say it's hard to manage that. Is it a big deal? And how do students cope with this? So I'll talk from my personal experience. I think for an international student, 4 courses definitely get a little tough to deal with, because especially in the first semester, because you're actually dealing with a new way of studying. Like, you're dealing with these online assignments and you know, like the different exam formats, these shopping for courses, and there are so many things happening in your first semester. So like taking 4 courses in itself is a lot. And other master's programs actually just have 3 courses per semester, so Columbia is a little hard in that sense. But what I would suggest is that just like plan it out properly. So if you can decide your track before starting school, so you can literally see like the courses that you'll have to complete, then you can start dividing them into your semesters. So I would suggest take 2 light courses in your first sem and 2 heavy courses. So by light and heavy, what I mean is, so say for example in your undergrad you really liked algorithms and that was your strong subject, that counts as your light subject in masters, because you already have a lot of like background and confidence about that subject, so you can take that. And for example, that light subject for me was databases, so I felt kind of like confident in that, so I took databases in my first semester, and ML as a heavy subject in my first semester, NLP as a light subject in my first semester, because I was reading a lot about NLP in my undergrad and I was like, I know everything. But obviously that was not true, but yeah, so that was a light subject for me. And then DS and Algos was a heavy subject for me, so that's how I divided my first semester. And it was tough, it was really tough, but you'll manage it. What you need, like a survival kit for your stint at Columbia, is you have to have good friends. So just make sure you're talking to people so you're motivated, and you know, if you don't understand anything, you can get help. And also please make use of all the resources that the universities offers. So you'll have TA hours, go to that, and the TAs will explain to you what you what you missed in the class or what you need revision for. So definitely try that out. And you can even contact the professors directly. They're really nice and they answer all your questions, and they really make sure that you understand the subject and you're enjoying the subject. And another reason why it gets difficult is that you're like, right after you join college in fall, you have to, like, within 1 or 2 months, you have to start preparing for internship interviews. So you have 4 subjects plus internship interviews. So just plan out accordingly. I would definitely not recommend doing the tough courses in the first semester. Save like the 2 of them for the last semester, because by then I think you'll already have your job and internship sorted. And just take it easy for the first semester, and from second semester you'll be like, you know, aadat hai mujhe, I'm just used to it, and you'll be able to manage. And yeah, the program requires 30 credits. So you have 4 courses in first semester, 4 courses in second semester, and 2 courses in the third semester. And but by this third semester, at least I became like such a nerd that I took 4 courses in my third semester as well. Because I think by the time you're in your third semester, you're like so much like into that phase, and you're enjoying like, you know, what you're being taught, and you're like, oh my god, I have this last semester, I'm going to like absorb as much as I can. So that's a really nice feeling, and I hope you transition into that as well. It was a great journey for me, like, you know, from just studying for the sake of studying to actually like enjoying what I'm studying. So yeah, it'll be hard at first, but it's rewarding. Next question. Next up, we have questions about internships and job. What shall be a good time to apply for internships and jobs? For internships, basically you start applying in October, and I think it's good that you get an internship by December, because then that time you can be free for your winter break. You can travel back to India like with a free mind and enjoy your vacation and come back. Start applying, I would say in September only start applying. You reach New York, you start applying to like for your internships. And so yeah, so I applied, so I started applying in October, and December 6th I got my letter, and I was so happy. I was like chilling for my winter vacations. And how are the job opportunities there, and what could be the median salary? So job opportunities are really nice. Like if you want to stay in the city, there are plenty of options. California, of course, is like full of these tech companies, and you can get a really nice job. The median salary, I would say it like depends on you, but it's around 80K to 150K a year. Plus, like, you can get stocks and other benefits as well. So it really depends on you. And okay, and then I'm concerned about the job prospects after MS in electrical engineering from Columbia. I heard it can be hard to find jobs and interns in engineering on the East Coast. So I can't really talk about EE because I don't have any friends in EE, but I can talk about jobs in like the East Coast in general. So yeah, there might not be like as many options as there are in, say, California, but there are still more options in New York than like any other university in some other state. Job-wise, most options are in California, of course, for engineering and technical kind of roles. But next up is New York. You have a lot of options there as well, and you can explore this area of fintech. So you can do like a hybrid tech and finance kind of job in New York, which is good. Next question. Do you think it will be better if I join a graduate school after gaining some work experience? How important is work experience for MSCS? So say, for example, if you have 1 year of work experience before joining Columbia, and then you start applying for jobs, and your peers are also applying for jobs and who don't have experience, you'll probably apply for the same set of jobs, like, you know, university graduate jobs. So that ways it doesn't really make a difference until you have a lot of experience. Once you have the job, then you can leverage your experience and then ask them for a better pay. So that's one thing, that's one place where experience will help. We're almost done, guys. Next set of questions are about the tuition fee and TA opportunities, RA opportunities at Columbia, and this is a huge topic, guys. So I'll like give an overview of it right now, but I'm going to also like make a dedicated video on this topic as to like how to cover that expense and what are the options. So let me read one of the questions. So first question is total tuition fee for 1.5 years. So I think like you pay around $2,000 for each credit. One course is 3 credits. So you pay around like $6,000 for one subject, which is a lot. And this adds up to around like $70,000-$80,000 in tuition fee. Plus, New York is an expensive city to live in, and you can add another like that to being on the conservative side, $1,500 to like $2,000 for your living expenses. So that's the tuition and the fee part. And let me read the question. Columbia doesn't offer any scholarships or grants. Are there any teaching assistantships? Oh my god, I think I've been speaking for so long. Let me try again. Are there any teaching assistantships, research assistantships, fellowship awards that can be availed after joining the MS program? Based on your experience, how will you guide a student seeking funding to support his graduate degree, such as fellowship, loans, part-time jobs, etc.? Is it worth taking a loan to fund MS at Columbia? So the answer to this question is that if you really want to fund your masters, there are ways to fund it yourself. But I would say that don't wholly and solely rely on them. So for example, when I joined Columbia, I was ready like to pay the whole fee financially, and then I had this plan that I'll slowly recover the money when I start my job and things like that. But after I joined Columbia, then I started looking for like other like avenues to earn money and pay for my tuition myself. So I earned about $70,000-$80,000 while studying at Columbia, so that covered the most of my tuition fee. I still had to pay my living expenses myself. So the way I did it was like using my money from my internship. So tech internships usually pay you really well, so you can save up money and pay towards your tuition. The second part was working part-time. So you can talk to your professors if they are like working with any companies, and they usually do, and if they have any open roles that you can pursue along with your masters. So if you work on a project, they can give you lump sum like $5,000-$6,000. So I was getting that from one of my projects. And then I was an RA, so my tuition fee for one semester, which turns out to be around like $25,000, that was free for me. And if you're an RA, you also get around $3,500 per month, and for 6 months you can like kind of calculate that's another $18,000, so that's also a lot. So I was also working on like designing a course and like helping a professor with some resource designing, like whatever like they need, like if they need help with like you finding out resources and other stuff. So that pays around $20 an hour, and you can work for 20 hours while you're studying. So that was another avenue. So these little things, they kind of like add up, and you can fund it yourself, at least like partially. So those are few good options, but it's kind of like it's not just you, it depends on a lot of factors. So you can be really good, but if your professor doesn't have an open position, then what can you do? So you can't really rely on those. Or if like there are no like these courses happening, courses, if you don't have like these open part-time positions at these different companies, then it's not in your hands, right? So you figure it out, you start figuring these things out once you're there. But of course you can plan for a TA or a RA position in advance. So you can apply for a TA position in the first sem itself. And if you're but one thing I'd suggest is like TAs do a lot of work. They have to like check the assignments and grade them, and you have to like provide justification of like why you cut marks here and why you're like giving marks here. So it's like a very time consuming process. So don't just TA for any subject, because you'll have to learn that subject yourself as well. So be a teaching assistant for a subject that like you have a background in and you are strong at in your undergrad, so that it gives you time to study for the 4 courses that you have to do as well. So do that. But for a TA, so TAs don't really give you a lot of money at Columbia. So that's around $2,500 to $3,000 a semester, not like month. So that's nothing for a whole semester. But if you're a TA in your first semester, and in your second semester you can apply for a TA fellowship, and fellowship will give you the tuition fee waiver. So that's nice, and that's what you should work towards. But these RA and TA fellowship positions are really limited. So just start early and you will get it. And the last question: how would you reflect on your experience of studying in New York? Oh my god, it was amazing. I literally enjoyed studying and learned so much, and I wish my 4 years of undergrad were also my 1.5 years at Columbia. I won't talk a lot about it because this has been a really long video, and I want to talk about the important questions first. This general talk we can do later as well. So yeah, in the video you explained about how you didn't focus on your undergrad topics. This video is like my previous video on my MSCS journey at Columbia. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend you to watch it as well. So that is a lighter version of this video that has a lot of fun. What are the subjects which I can prepare at least for the first semester? So I would say for ML, brush up on your calculus and matrices and things like that, because it's a very math intensive course. I would say prepare DS and algos as well, because that's one of the mandatory courses that you can choose. Of course you can choose another mandatory course from the list of options that you have, but if you choose that, then it will help. And it will also help you for your interviews, because right after you land in New York, you have to start thinking about interviews. So at least you're already reading about it. So I think it's very important. And for the first semester, I would say you can't really prepare the courses that you're going prepare anything for the courses that you're going to take, but start doing lead code if you can. Even if you do 1 question every day, that will help, because with 4 courses you won't get time, and you have to give interviews in October. So these 3 things. And the last question is, what coding languages are recommended to be good at? I want to go into machine learning stream. Is it okay to just be good at coding in Python, or Java is necessary too? The languages used for assignments. So assignments are not really language specific. You can choose the language of your choice. And if you want to go into machine learning, then of course you have to be good in Python, and that's what I was good in as well. But from a job perspective, it other languages always come in handy. For example, I'm learning React now for my job, so either ways it will help only. And yeah, you can start with Python, but it's always good to have another language in your list of languages that you know. So that's it for this video. If you're still here, thanks for watching, and please subscribe to this channel, because it really motivates me. And just like this video and subscribe. It will be worth all the effort and time I put into this. And yeah, see you in my next video.